I'm really excited to see this new work that Edgile is doing in this space, and especially the partnership that they've established with Cyflare. I think it really has the opportunity to create some great security advantages for their customers. So talking about Azure Sentinel, some of the main advantages that I see of Azure Sentinel, one of the things that makes Sentinel so fantastic to me is the fact that it's really a complete reimagining of the SIEM and SOAR solution. And what I mean by that is Sentinel is a born in the cloud service. It's not just a bunch of servers that have been virtualized and moved from your on-premise data center into a cloud data center. It is a cloud native solution. It's built from the ground up with Azure services. Azure Sentinel also makes it very easy for you to collect security data across your entire hybrid organization from all your devices, your users, your applications, whatever services you're connecting to. It can even connect to third-party cloud providers like Amazon or Google and pull in data from their locations and analyze that and help you to act on that. It then uses the power of artificial intelligence to ensure that you're able to identify any threats very quickly. And it uses machine learning algorithms and different models, as well as the collective power of Microsoft security researchers to identify threats that have been recognized to exist in your environment. And since it's built on Azure, as I mentioned before, it has limitless cloud, limitless scale, and that scale happens automatically to address your capacity needs. So think about what that might mean for your staff. You know, your traditional SIEMs are often very expensive to own and operate. You usually have to commit a lot of hardware, commit a lot of funding to hardware up front. And that often results in high spend for getting the project off the ground. With Azure Sentinel, there's no upfront cost. You pay for what you use. And right now we're offering Office 365 Activity Data Report to be ingested into Azure Sentinel at no cost. So that'll help you to get started with Sentinel at a very reduced upfront cost. Now, Forrester did a total economic impact assessment on Azure Sentinel. They released this back in November. And what they really identified were some dramatic advantages to using Azure Sentinel as compared to using maybe a legacy SIEM provider. What they found was that it was about 45% less expensive than a legacy on-premise SIEM deployment, and it could be deployed in about a third of the time. So that's largely thanks to the fact that much of the functionality of the SIEM is built into the product. It's available right out of the box. More importantly, there was about a 79% reduction in the number of false positives over a 3-year time frame, and an estimated 80% reduction in the investigation labor effort. So those are things that are going to have a dramatic impact and an improvement on your SOC efficiency and help make sure that your analysts are avoiding getting burned by investigation fatigue. Now, a couple weeks ago, Gartner also announced their Magic Quadrant for SIEM providers or SIEM tools, and Azure Sentinel was listed in the visionary category, the very first time that it was entered into this category. So that's fantastic to hear, being recognized as a visionary with a product that's really less than 2 years old. And there's a huge amount of additional development that's been done on the product even since that initial evaluation of Sentinel was done. Now, with Azure Sentinel, you can aggregate all the security data using built-in data connectors. You can have native integration of your signals from your Microsoft 365 or Azure Cloud Services. And we also support the ingestion of data from industry standard formats such as syslog. In addition to that, we're continuing to work with many of our security partners to help develop and support much easier to deploy connectors and dashboards for solutions from vendors like Palo Alto Networks, F5, Symantec, Fortinet. Many others are in the works. And as you may know, Azure Sentinel is based on the Azure Monitor service, which uses a very highly scalable log analytics database that supports ingestion of more than 10 petabytes every day. So you don't have to worry about capacity or scale for your environment. Sentinel also has an extremely fast query engine that can sort through millions of lines of records in just a few seconds to get to the critical data and identify threats. It also integrates with the Graph security APIs. So if you want to bring your own threat intelligence feeds into Sentinel, that's fully supported. But one thing that I think all of us can agree on is that the amount of signal that's coming into an organization is growing every single day. And it can be really hard for a human analyst to piece the different pieces of an attack together. That's why Azure Sentinel uses very sophisticated, very scalable machine learning algorithms so that we can correlate these millions of pieces of low fidelity alerts and stitch them together into just a few very high fidelity security incidents that require action by an analyst. Sentinel also includes user behavior analytics to help you identify anomalies, things like compromised identities, malicious insider actions, and so on. Now, obviously, Sentinel isn't able to resolve every single problem automatically. There often has to be a human involved in that resolution, and that's where Edgile's partnership with SciFlare can really enhance your organization's security posture. Now, while AI, artificial intelligence, can sharpen your focus on finding problems, once you've solved the problem, you don't want to keep finding that same problem over and over again. Instead, you want to leverage automation to address those repeat issues automatically. So Azure Sentinel provides built-in automation with the ability to use predefined or even custom created playbooks to solve those repetitive tasks and respond to known threats in a very rapid and automated way. With that capability, Azure Sentinel can help augment existing enterprise defenses and investigation tools, including some of the best of breed security products, if you've built your own homegrown tools, and then systems like HR management applications and workflow management systems, for example, ServiceNow. Now, I talked about the cost effectiveness of Azure Sentinel, the reduced amount of time getting it up and running, the dramatically lower upfront costs in deploying Azure Sentinel. And that's where a great partner like Edgile can help you get this up and running using best practices, their extensive security experience, and couple that with SciFlare's fantastic monitoring capabilities. Many enterprises are using Office 365, and more often, what we see is that they're adopting the advanced security and compliance offerings that are included in Microsoft 365. Now, from a security perspective, there's many use cases where you want to combine security data from users, endpoint applications, and so on with information from your infrastructure environment, maybe even third-party data to understand the complete scope of an attack. And ideally, you'd like to do that within the compliance boundaries of a single cloud provider. So for several months now, we've made it possible for our customers to bring their Office 365 activity data into Azure Sentinel for free. So it just takes a few clicks and you're capturing your logs in Sentinel in the cloud. So what does this mean for you as a customer? It means you're reducing your infrastructure costs because you can automatically scale resources as you need it, when you need it, and you're only paying for what you actually use. You pay nothing extra for the ingestion of the data from Office 365, the Azure activity logs, and other alerts from, for example, the Microsoft Threat Protection solutions. And you have the opportunity to save up to 60% compared to the pay-as-you-go pricing by using what we call capacity reservations with Azure Sentinel. So what that allows you to do is have a predictable monthly bill and the flexibility to change your capacity commitment every 31 days. So from a financial perspective, there are some real advantages both in the short and long term.